So, Camberwell House. Set within the leafy suburbs, eastern suburbs, Camberwell House is a contextually responsive intergenerational home. Surrounded by significant heritage dwellings, the design seeks a contemporary reinterpretation of traditional forms and layout. It's located here in Camberwell. Camberwell Junction there on the left. With an established heritage context and typically conservative surrounding built environment, Camberwell House aims to embed itself within its place instead of setting itself apart. I couldn't help but pick out all the pools and tennis courts. There was even more if I panned back. So it's on quite a busy road, Trafalgar Road, and the original house was very set back with the circular drive, which was kind of necessary or useful with the clearway conditions. A poor rear photo. And this is the site in the centre between these kind of significant heritage buildings. St Christopher's Church across the road. Some early site analysis of the existing site. The client was very keen to knock it down, and while we're normally very big on preserving heritage, we felt that this was not up to keeping and restoring and adapting. So it gave us an opportunity to kind of pull the new house forward, pull it back from the north and get better light and passive solar. New house siting opportunities. Our client, a professional often working overseas, wanted to buy a home not only to grow into themselves but to allow their octogenarian parent to age in place. This project operates at the intersection of traditional form and contemporary spatial arrangement, offering privacy to the occupants while maintaining the interconnected living spaces expected of a new home. Although situated on a busy arterial road, a low open fence was used, maximising the experience of the front garden to the passerby, as well as responding to the open wrought iron fences of neighbouring period houses. The openness of the street interface also allows for clear legibility of the design's formal response, taking cues from neighbouring roof pitches and nearby St Christopher's Church and datum lines of adjacent house verandas. So we treated, rather than build, I suppose, the high front wall, we had a number of conversations with our client about, they were concerned about road noise, security and privacy, because Betty travels a lot and her 80-year-old mother lives in the house by herself often. So we liked the idea that that kind of sense of security and protection was pulled back to be a much more kind of friendly interface for the broader community. Similarly, that part of the house also worked a little bit like a veranda because of the heritage overlay. Council was very keen to not have a kind of flat facade interface, and like that kind of interstitial space that you see with traditional houses, they were very happy with this kind of solution. Here you start to see how that entry sequence works as you come into the front door and that courtyard beyond. And this behind the kind of batten fence as it will eventually grow and green up. And then the house establishes a sense of privacy through a series of courtyards. These spaces, defined by masonry walls and a continuous concrete lintel, help mediate the liminal space between the front yard and the home's interior. Together they allow controlled views to private courtyards, as well as receding the garages present amongst its heritage context. So we talked a lot again about these kind of walled gardens and openings within brick walls, some of these construction shots, and this opening in the upper roof form, which was painted out dark to really kind of recede within the roof tiles, looking across the neighbour's front garden. So then the rear, with the Betty's mum, Etna's rear ground floor bedroom at the rear. The proud brickie with a lot of red oxide. It was an interesting build during kind of COVID lockdowns. And this other courtyard space that sits between the garage and the garden proper as a drying yard and sort of service space. The double height form over the living areas and these kind of softened ridge lines internally. An internal window between first floor and living room provides a sense of connection between levels and occupants. So here, looking down. A soft palette and gentle curves produce a calm interior atmosphere that helps to draw the viewer's gaze outward. It is this considered reduction that enabled the walled gardens and open vistas to be enjoyed with a sense of stillness. So here then, within the gable of the roof, or the upper form, we actually created newer inner forms within the bedroom zones, and then that open courtyard to look out at neighbouring rooftops. In the bedroom, the builders took great care in forming that. And the hatched area really is the kind of main habitable space upstairs, with the above kind of 1900 high, the void to the right, and then there were kind of additional spaces on the side that the client was keen to be able to use as kind of attic storage. Predominantly orientated along an east-west axis, the traditional Victorian division of rooms was subverted using a central timber volume to define living zones and circulation. The spatial sequence culminates in a north-facing double-height living space expressing the building's exterior form. Thanks. Just clicking through. EGA had a bit of a challenge with Etna's brief for wanting lots of climbing English roses, which was not a plant that they typically use, but relished the challenge. And most importantly for Etna was her the garage for her table tennis championships that she has with her team, which the fan was very important, as was kind of opening up the garage and engaging with the street. From our client, our home has an efficient, utilitarian and optimised layout where infrequently used rooms can be sectioned off, giving us both space and cosiness. The double-storey living room ceiling enhances the spacious feeling and a sense of calm, while the internal window gives us a sense of linkage and dialogue between the two stories. The courtyard surrounding the house gives us a very secure and private environment and a vista onto different garden areas. Curves are used throughout the design, a subtle integration of our Chinese culture and a symbol of harmony. Materially restrained and formally responsive, Camberwell House sits quietly in its context. The balance of social and private spaces within the robustness of this construction lends itself, along with its occupants, to age gracefully in place for many years to come. Thank you.